What is up, everyone? I'm Jeff from Jeff Needs Sports, and we're about to talk about the college football playoff power rankings on offtheballnetwork.com. Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Jeff. This is Jeff Needs Sports. This is Offtheball Network, and this is our official college football power rankings. Now, I just want to preface this by saying that I don't really care what the committee. If you can't see me, if you're listening, I don't care what the committee says about the power rankings. This is my power rankings. This is how I see, the chances of a team going forward. This is how I see the season playing out. I do not, I don't. I'm not. I will not give up and succumb to like what the committee has decided, things are going, because the fact of the matter is there's a lot of things in place, and there's a lot of different ways this season's going to go. So I'm sticking with my own power rankings, and I feel that when it's all said and done, I'm gonna come out victorious. I really do. So here we go. Number one, I still got Georgia. Georgia number one. They look good. They've done everything they can ask for them. They look physically, imposing on the other team. So I've still got Georgia number one. Nothing's changed that. I still have Oklahoma number two, because I don't care what the committee's done. I know in my heart, after watching college football for 40 years, that zero in the loss column is going to wind up meaning something. And so I still have Oklahoma at number two. Do I think they're the second best team in the country after this weekend? Maybe. That's it. That's all I'd say. After this weekend, maybe Oklahoma's the second best team in the country. I have no idea. And neither do they. So I still have Oklahoma at number two, because this is how I perceive it's going to end up. Uh, Number three, I have Alabama at 8-1. They're still number three. I understand all the arguments against Alabama, but when I look at them, do I want to play them tomorrow? No. So if I combine the rankings and the AP and the coaches poll and all that, Alabama's still at number three. I'm fine with that. They still have a great shot at making the playoffs. Number four, I jumped Oregon to number four. They passed the trap test. That's the thing about these teams. Like, oh, we put Oregon up here, and then whoa, they got a scary game coming, and then they get through that. They pass that test. I got Oregon at number four. They have a pretty good path to the playoff right now. I mean, if honestly, like, if you're telling me that all you got to do is beat Utah twice, you get in the playoffs, I'm taking that. So Oregon's in good shape. Number five, I got Cincinnati at 9-0. I still don't think they have enough to put them over the edge, but I also believe that whatever, we're apparently throwing out what we see on the field. So I got Cincinnati at 5. Do I think they can move up? Not really. I think they need a lot of help. But then once again, after this past Saturday, they may get that help they need. I got Ohio State at 6. This team is just basically all potential. This team is all potential. They haven't had a great victory. They haven't done anything to solidify their ranking, but we all know that they are a powder keg. So I've got Ohio State at 6. They've got a really tough 3 weeks coming up to prove it, and then we'll know. Right behind them, I got Michigan at 7. The only reason I got Michigan at 7 is because they have the most recent loss. Let's be honest. If you want to switch Ohio State and Michigan, I don't care. They get to play. It's one of those things. I had to decide. I think Ohio State still, their ceiling is still higher than Michigan, but Michigan's a really good football team. Again, nobody wants to wake up and play them tomorrow. Notre Dame jumped up to 8 this week. Notre Dame's in a bad situation. They're a really good team with a loss, and they don't have a conference championship game. And so therefore, they probably are darn near out of the playoff scenario. But I still got to put them at 8, because honestly, at this point, we have about 9 or 10 teams that could possibly even make the playoffs. There's no reason to eliminate Notre Dame, at this point. So Notre Dame, took care of business. I apologize for the two T's in Notre Dame there. Nobody's brought that up yet, but Notre Dame's a good football team that needs a lot of help to get in. OK State in great shape. They still have Oklahoma on the schedule. They took care of business over the weekend, which most of the top 10 teams didn't. Oklahoma State at 9. If they run through, if they run through Bedlam here in a couple weeks, it's a whole different scenario. But I think they put themselves in really good position to argue a spot in the playoffs. I like what they're doing. At this point, everything we've seen in college football, to be 8-1 isn't that easy. So, I'm all in on Oklahoma State, and I think they're a top 10 team. Number 10, I dropped Michigan State way down. They have a high state still left on the schedule, which is great. Michigan State can still win the East and still get in. They've got the big win over Michigan, but they did lose. They got beat handily by Purdue. So I don't think I'm being unfair to drop Michigan State this low. But their chances of getting in are really good. If they win out, they get a really good chance of still making the playoffs. But I also had to watch the game the other night, and they made a lot of mistakes and they showed flaws, and so I dropped them to 10. This is probably my most unsure ranking of the week. Number 11, Texas A&M. It's one of these weird things. This is one of the last teams in the SEC that actually has a chance besides Georgia and Alabama. I know everybody looks and they're like, they've lost 2 games and all this. Texas A&M can still make the SEC championship game and have this outside shot of playing Georgia, which if you play Georgia and you beat Georgia, you have a chance to get in. So Texas A&M is still alive, at 7-2. They're a good team. It took them a while to get going, but at number 12, I got Wake Forest at 8-1. They can be because, and a lot of people don't know this. I didn't know this. We have to remind everybody, the North Carolina loss was not a conference loss. So Wake Forest, their rankings in the ACC did not change based on the loss to North Carolina. So it was a bad loss to an average team, but Wake Forest can absolutely still make the ACC championship game and still has a chance to win that and, put themselves in the top 10 going the rest of the year. So Wake Forest basically got saved by, and they can score. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Wake Forest is a good team that can score, and they're right up there. So I have them hanging in there 12. Ole Miss, they just keep hanging around. The problem is they don't really have a chance to make it to the conference championship game. So they're kind of hit their ceiling right now. But when you really look at it, I also can't drop them out of it just because they don't have a chance to make the playoffs. They're a good team that nobody wants to play. And the problem is they've about hit their ceiling, but that's not their fault. It is what it is. Number 14, I got Houston because, hey, if you're going to tell me Cincinnati deserves to be up there, Houston's doing everything they should do. Do I think they can get much higher than 14? Probably not. But once you really start looking at it, you start running out of teams with a possibility. And I know what you all say is, yes, there's several teams in the Big Ten and several teams in the SEC and probably several teams in the Big 12 that could beat Houston. Well, unfortunately, that's not how college football is played. Because if we're going to do it that way, then it's, we're back to 30 years ago to where we're voting on this thing at the end. So Houston, I've got them at 14. They're not dead yet because I think they still have Cincinnati on the schedule. But, I think 14, they would take that. I really do. Wisconsin at 15. I know this seems crazy. A 3-loss team at 16, but 15, but hear me out here. Wisconsin, if they win out, gets a shot at the Big Ten championship, and they're going to play a good team in the Big Ten championship. That's it. That's all we know that. And whether it's Michigan, whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Michigan State, Wisconsin gets a chance to play a really good team in the Big Ten championship game. And if they win that, they're going to have this weird, we got hot late argument, because I think they've won 5 in a row now, and their season's going to look much better than it does now. So, to be in my top 16, you need to have some sort of outside shot, to make your conference championship, to make the playoffs, whatever. Wisconsin still has that. So Wisconsin hanging in at 15. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they are. That's just the facts of it. Number 16, finally, the University of Texas, San Antonio. They're 9-0. They have 0 chance to make the playoffs, but they have all the argument in the world to make the playoffs if Cincinnati is in the running to make the playoffs. If UTSA came into the season ranked 4th, Right now, they'd be ranked fourth or fifth or sixth. So there's no, I can't leave them out of this and then put just a random, what do you want me to do? You want to put Auburn in there that has zero chance to make it? Like Auburn has zero chance to make it? No, no. So finally, after a couple weeks of being on the radar, UTSA makes my top 16. So that's just kind of it. This is how I feel about it. I won't back down from it. I'm not going to change, what I do because of what the committee does. I believe in my methods. I believe in my numbers. I believe in, my criteria. And I'm gonna keep putting these out. And I feel that when we get to the end of the season, the committee is going to come back to me a little bit. So that's how strongly I feel about my ranking. So this is it. This is my rankings. This is the week 10 rankings. Obviously, they're going to change. Things have been crazy. And so obviously I'm Jeff Need Sports. Go to anywhere you get your podcast, check out Jeff Need Sports, go to offtheballnetwork.com. Like our YouTube page. It's really kicking right now. Find us everywhere. We do a ton of lives, a lot of things going on right now in the football world. I appreciate you all. This is Jeff, and I'm out.